This is not a van life channel, but I do travel a lot in the van. On this adventure I'm going the long way north to Norway. My content is the amazing places I visit, but on this occasion I'm showing the process of getting there, and there is to film some glaciers and fjords. No direct ferry goes from the UK, so we're departing from Dover, and I'm accompanied by Ronan, my son, and the cameraman for the trip. So hello, Ro. Someone else making the crossing, and plenty of people not switching off their car alarm. And goodbye to the White Cliffs of Dover for the next 3 weeks. We're going to travel up through Belgium, the Netherlands, where I'm going to do some filming along the coastline for another video, and up through Lower Saxony, then Denmark, over Europe's longest bridge to Sweden, and then on to Norway, which will feature in part 2. Norway is a neighbour, but the long way up is the only option for getting there. But it's worth it and affordable, and this video will show you what's involved. So I've just given myself a varnish with some lovely million. So what are you smelling like, right?
Wood, squared, D squared.
Okay.
Understated,
So,
natural, masculine, all those
Right.
things. This just looks like cypress in a bottle of grease.
Cypress
That's what
oil.
grease smells like.
We were booked to go to Dunkirk, but delays for passport control at Dover has meant we're arriving in Calais. Most people bypass the town, heading straight up on their journey, but we have wine to pick up. Apparently Norway is very expensive. And if we had more time, Calais doesn't actually disappoint, having an equally important history to that of Dover. Just head up the motorways, but that's pretty boring. So we're going to break up the journey and take our time. For some reason, Ronan is insistent we visit a Dutch city. Kids today apparently just want to sit around in coffee bars. Can't quite see the attraction. Rotterdam is a city worth visiting, and the tram system is cheap and pretty simple once you know which ticket to buy, which is either a day pass or a 2-hour anywhere ticket, which costs a few euros. Rotterdam was flattened in the early days of the Second World War, and the city took the opportunity to build some very interesting architecture. A few parts of the old city remain. If you play Battlefield 5, then this will be familiar.
You recognise this, lads and girls? Yeah, right. You're actually in a game map.
I've been in the Reichstag.
Oh yeah. Right, on both occasions.
Yeah.
The bridge is De Heer, or officially the Koningshavens Bridge. It's a vertical lift railway bridge built in 1927 and operated until the line was dismantled in 1993.
So, what's your first impressions of Rotterdam?
It's interesting. Reminds me of Bristol. A lot more expensive to get here than Bristol is.
Why does it remind you of Bristol, Ronan?
Interesting architecture, similar history of bombed buildings and lots of rebuilding. And feels like a melting pot of different cultures.
And it's a port town.
Port town. So yeah, I think all of the sea cranes and lots of boats, definitely Bristolian. And there's loads of different interesting people, which is Bristol. So
This comes
if you're on a
from
budget, get a cheap ticket to Bristol on a Riva Trains Wales. Or,
Germany. So what are your views, what's your opinion on your experience of the Netherlands?
it's very samey. Countryside wise, it's not exactly a big natural place of interesting things, but it is good. Well, the one I've been to was pretty good.
Yeah, the other ones are pretty good as well.
Yeah. I assume, I think if you did come here, you don't need to leave the city. Or at least if you do for 5 minutes, you can turn back because you know exactly what the next 200 miles an hour are like.
We're in Bremen, I think. So,
Very cool boat.
they're called ships, I think, when they get that precise.
I mean, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very colourful ship.
Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be our park up for the night. And
Quiet for a town.
it's very quiet.
Apart from the big power, I think that's the ship actually making most of the noise.
So yeah, on to Denmark tomorrow, and then on to Sweden, the home of IKEA, ABBA, Vikings.
Ish. So.
Vikings. What kind of metal do they play? Swedish metal.
Yeah,
apparently in
death
Sweden.
metal. Yeah. No, Swedish death metal is famous. Really famous genre.
Well, death metal, Swedish death metal.
It's like a certain style.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Big advice is Saxony, home of the Saxons.
Germany in general, that seems. What?
No,
Okay.
no. Saxony is kind of different to the rest of Germany.
Fair enough.
It's like saying Wales is like England.
Is it? Are they that different?
Yeah.
Well, countryside-wise, probably.
Yeah, countryside. Yeah. So we are looking forward to mountains in the morning.
Not. Yes.
Well, not tomorrow because we're in Denmark, and that apparently is as flat as a pancake. Yeah.
I mean, we're planning Sweden, right? If we can maybe get Sweden tomorrow, is that the goal? Or is that
Denmark tomorrow.
Denmark tomorrow.
Definitely. Maybe cross over to Sweden in the evening.
Okay. I wonder if it just the second it hits the Swedish border goes flat, and then it just looks like a.
Well, I'll have to see.
Should be interesting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see mountains. I'm sick. Not sick of, but I've seen a lot of really flat square fields.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward. My eyes want to be caressed by the rolling hills and soaring mountains of the Scandinavia.
Snow would be cool too.
Snow would be cool.
Yeah, I've never been to a snowy place of any kind, so. And I live in the UK, so there's no snow.
There is. We had
3 days
snow.
a week. 3 days a week? No, 3 days a year, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bremerhaven has a marine museum and a Nazi submarine you can visit for €3. It's the Type 21 U-boat, and it was a true electric boat and was a Nazi superweapon. But despite building 118 of them, with another 145 in production, none saw combat. This is the last surviving one. They were an innovation, they could stay submerged, and went on to be the basis for the post-war Allied submarines. However, they had lots of technical and build issues.
Brückenbauer schließt Turm die zentrale Feind. Das Boot schraubt. Die Motoren laufen. Wieder einmal. Für die Bergung der im Wasser treibenden Schiffbrüchigen der Torpedierten.
See what you got.
Seit längerer Zeit keine Ordnung. Der Kommandant geht zum Funkraum. Danach
Und dann werden 1000 Märchen wahr. Ich weiß, so schnell kann keine Liebe vergehen. Die so groß ist und so wunderbar.
If we do this, I don't need much space.
So, 58 men with only 2 of these.
Smell.
So you don't complain when there's 2 of us in the camper van. journey from Calais to the Swedish border direct is 800 miles, so time to refuel and do our last shop before we end up in Norway.
Finds us 500 miles. So a choice of 3 supermarkets. We've got Rue, we've got Aldi, and we got Kick. We went for Aldi out of familiarity and loyalty. Next stop, Denmark.
The most direct route by road across Europe to the Norwegian border is 1,100 miles. You can shave off a few hundred miles and catch a Danish ferry, but they're not cheap. The first toll bridge is between the second biggest island of Denmark, Funen, and the biggest, Zealand, and it's the Great Belt Bridge, and it costs £45 each way for my camper. Cheaper if your camper is less than 6 metres. My van is 6.5, so the prices for every toll and ferry is going to be more expensive. With the weather brightening up, we're going to break the journey up with a visit to an open-air museum and inspect some local crops, it seems. Hemp is grown to make paper and expensive jeans. It used to be common in Britain to supply the navy with rope. The Danes also plant wild flowers along the field edges, which is very nice to see. The museum, whose name I struggle to pronounce, costs £20 entry, which is pretty good value.
So Roe is now going to get up to level 20 on smithing. You're going to have to go make 20 knives now.
Iron daggers.
Iron daggers.
Got some good pieces out here if you're looking to buy.
Yes, actually. How about you smith me an iron dagger? Here's everything you need to make one. Go ahead.
Don't forget to check in up if you need it.
be keeping an eye on you.
My lord, please. This is no time for rash action.
What's the meaning of this interruption? Jarl Balgrup is not receiving visitors.
The Orson Bridge takes us from Denmark to Sweden. It's 5 miles and the longest bridge in Europe, and also carries the rail line, and it was completed in 2000 and cost £2 billion. And it's quite the mega project. The toll for the van worked out at €60 each way, but I paid a registration fee for €25 in advance online, and that almost halved the cost to what it would be if we just turned up. So do go to the website and sign up if you're planning this route.
Very vast rest areas on the motorway.
The journey following up the coast through Sweden to the Norwegian border is about 300 miles, and although pleasant, it's not the most spectacular part of Sweden. To keep us amused, we played a game we invented called IKEA Nokia. It does require a copy of the IKEA catalogue, and as you pass road signs for towns and villages, you have to guess if it's an IKEA product or not an IKEA product. Each point for guessing which department it's in, and more points if you can guess what it is. When you cross into Norway, and there are customs, and the officers are polite and speak English, they will stop you. Immediately over the border is a free museum come information point, featuring a wealth of rock carvings and megalithic sites in the area, dating from the Nordic Bronze Age. That spans from 5,000 years ago to, before the Iron Age, 2,500 years ago.
Norwegian wood, isn't it good?
Cool.
In part 2, we drive into the heart of Norway, travel the world's longest road tunnel, visit Europe's biggest glacier, and get blown away by some incredible landscapes.